Hello and welcome to yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. Scott here, and yes, it's been a while since I put out a video. That is quite possibly because I have been very busy as of late, not just with personal things, but I may have got myself involved in too many games. I am playing, I think I am in about 5 games or so, all of which are campaigns, long-term campaigns. Thus, long-term commitments could be about 6, but I'm running Masks of Nyarlathotep. I'm in a Traveler game. I'm in a Warhammer Enemy Within game. I'm playing in a GURPS game. Let's see here. What else am I in? I am playtesting a game, and I'm also in a Delta Green game. So my time is stretched very thin. So that leaves very little time to do recordings as of late, but hopefully that will change soon. As some of the games come to completion, and I do find a bit more time to make these videos that I do. So this one, as clearly stated by the thumbnail and everything, this is an unboxing. Well, maybe more an unwrapping. I found a bit of spare time when I was doing some work the other day and ran by a friendly local game store in Orange, California, and picked up a copy of a new Call of Cthulhu book. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what's inside. So yes, as stated, this is an unwrapping. I apologize for the reflection coming from the cellophane on the book, but we'll take this off here and get rolling into this. So yes, this was a new arrival at the game store, and I was very interested in this, not just because it's a set of 3 new scenarios for Call of Cthulhu, but also the authors that were involved in this. So fair warning, just want to let you know a couple things. 1, spoilers. These are 3 adventures. So as I'm not going to go through these in detail, I will be trying to gain the first impression of each one of those, per the rules and ramifications of the unboxings that I do. This is not a review, just fair warning, but I'll be giving my impressions to you as I go through this to see how I feel about these particular scenarios, and if this book was worth picking up, and if these scenarios are worth a run or not. So, excuse me a moment. Yes. So what do we have here? We have Call of Cthulhu, No Time to Scream, 3 Evenings of Nightmare by B.W. Holland, Bridget Jeffries, and C.L. Werner. Now, I'm sure some of those names may ring a bell for some of you, so I would imagine not only am I interested in these, but likewise fans of Call of Cthulhu and Chaosium also. So let's flip over to the back here. All right, what do we have? What is, if we pull this off the shelf and still wrapped in cellophane, which I don't know why they do that for some of them and others they don't. I prefer to be able to look inside of a book just to see, but hey, it is what it is. Oh, ooh, geez, it is dry here this morning. It is pollen season around here, so allergies are hitting every one of us. Allergies seems to be almost a 3/4 of a year thing here in Southern California. But anywho, so No Time to Scream contains 3 short play scenarios for the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Each scenario is perfect for a single evening of mystery and horror, designed to be played in around 2 hours. That's cool. This makes for either a quick taste of Call of Cthulhu, or fits right into a good slot of a convention game. So I'm always on the lookout for convention games, which, is something that I can run well within the normal 3 to 4 hours without having to shave off the edges or do a bit of heavy lifting to squeeze it into that time. So, I'm all burps and sneezes and coughs. There we are. Okay. So what do we have first? We have a lonely thread. Something is wrong with Professor Thomas. Unfortunately, you didn't know that when you arrived at his charming woodland cabin. Can you act in time to save your friend? Or a horrific secret, or will a horrific secret devour all? Bits and pieces. A doctor's body lies next to an autopsy table, and the corpse he was examining has vanished. The only clue is a set of bloody footprints. A devilish game of hide and seek ensues with gory consequences. Aurora Blue. A band of U.S. Treasury agents raid an illegal whiskey distillery hidden in Alaska's Shugok. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Shugok Mountains. The sun is setting, and that's when the really bad things come out to play. Each scenario includes 4 pre-generated investigators, allowing you and your players to jump right into action. And then we got a little bit of information, some pictures of the handouts. So 2 things I would just instantly say, okay, this would be worth looking into is we've got some short scenarios here. We've got 2-hour scenarios. They all sound well within themselves per their description. So yeah, if this wasn't wrapped in cellophane, I would definitely start reading through it at the game store to see more. So let's do that. Okay, let's see. Just trying to get this centered in the screen. All right, so what do we have here? So other than our authors, B.W. Holland, Bridget Jeffries, C.L. Werner, with James Coquillat, and Mike Mason. We've got editing development by James Coquillat. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Mike Mason, copy editing by Lawrence Gale and Ken Austin, art direction Mike Mason with James Coquillat. Oh, is that? Yeah, Coquillat. Nicholas Gray, along with interior art by Hannah Elizabeth Baker, Eric Davis Heim, Heike Korhonen, Alice Morelli, Alex Nago, Riley Spalding, and John Sumrow. Here's the clear credits too. So B.W. Holland wrote A Lonely Thread, Bridget Jeffries wrote Aurora Blue, and C.L. Werner wrote Bits and Pieces. Okay, so we got the introduction here. Ooh, wow, God. Okay. I absolutely love Call of Cthulhu when it's accompanied by fantastic artwork. And right off the bat, we've got this wonderful piece here that seems to, what does it do? It's the introduction, so maybe it's a bit between the 3 scenarios here. We've got a wonderful inset piece here. 2 investigators coming upon something, horrific. So again, right off the bat, first impression, the artwork instantly captures me, and it's going to want me to check out more. So got an introduction here, which talks about the 3 scenarios: Lonely Thread, Bits and Pieces, and Aurora Blue. All the standard feature optional extras that can extend their standard runtime. No-risk keepers can use these expansions to further develop their experience in running Call of Cthulhu, while experienced keepers can take them and run wild. So that's another fantastic thing. Having introductory adventures, which these seem to be, or potentially could be for new keepers to the game to better learn the game as they are playing and running it. So we get a bit here about preparation and running. Carrying on, introduction to the rules. So, okay. All right, skill rolls. Okay, so this seems to be another introductory type book, similar to Gateways to Terror. I think that's the other one that has 3 short scenarios in there that are introductory adventures. But again, just because they're introductory doesn't mean that they can't be used for novice keepers. These tend to be great scenarios. What kind of makes them easy is they tend to hold your hand through the particular rules and guide you through it if you're a novice keeper. But it's short and sweet too, in order to it's when you're introducing people to a game, if they're not 100% in and you just want to give them a taste, a 4 to 5 hour game or something that runs over several sessions is something that isn't necessarily optimal. You'd rather have them decide if they want to continue on with the game within a couple hours. So these are great resources to have. All right, so we've got additional explanations of the rules as they are broken down here. And then we pop right into Chapter 1, A Lonely Thread. And this is the one that I didn't commit it to memory. Lonely Thread. This is one by B.W. Holland. Okay, so again, right off the bat, fantastic artwork. We've got some sort of, there's no shortage of tentacles in Call of Cthulhu of any shape, size, or color. But we've got something growing out of the back spine of this old gent here, as your atypical flapper girl is screaming in terror. So, Lonely Thread is a scenario for up to 4 players set in the 1920s near Arkham, Massachusetts. The investigators, while visiting their learned friend Joshua Thomas at his remote cottage in the Arkham Hills, must detect and then destroy a parasitic alien that is puppeteering the poor man. All right, fantastic. So So we've got, not necessarily the thing, but, a parasitic alien that isn't necessarily absorbing and recreating the old man, but playing him as a puppet. Similar thread there. So let's see. If you plan to run a lonely thread, it's a 1 hour scenario. Wow. Okay. Consider using the suggested timing below. Great. Okay. So this is the kind of stuff that I like in beginning games or beginning scenarios and whatnot. Suggestions on how to run it various ways as far as time management is concerned. Hey, you want this short and sweet as a 1 hour scenario? Boom. Here you go. Follow these beats here and you should get it done, give or take an hour, depending on how your players conduct themselves. Nothing is ever right on the dime, but at least you have a general idea, because that's one of the more difficult things about a lot of published adventures is getting a, how long am I supposed to run this? The Alien, Charity of the Gods, is notorious for, I believe it says it can be run in 4 to 6 hours, I believe. No, that the Charity of the Gods is run over several multi-hour sessions to get the full impact of the story and get it to completion. So hopefully this has been tested. I'm sure it has to fit within the time structure, but at least, again, it gives you a general idea. So these come with pre-generated investigators, as stated. So here's a bit that tells you about the people that you would be playing if you weren't, shoehorning in some characters that you created on your own, which is another issue with some of these with pre-generated characters. If the pre-generated characters are part of the story, that can be a bit difficult at times, especially if there's key elements within them that's touched upon within there in order for certain things to occur. But again, this thing is generally treated as an introductory to Call of Cthulhu, which, if you're just testing the game for you and your players, I would do pre-gens too, rather than go through the arduous process of creating characters just to put them away after, 2 or 3 hours, if they didn't want to continue with the game. So, but keeper information here, I can talk, along with a wonderfully drawn map of the plan of the hunting cabin, a bit of information on Joshua Thomas, and then in the usual format, we go with start the invitation along with some read aloud aspects, meeting Joshua Thomas, speaking to him, and so on. Again, fantastic artwork. Love this artwork here. Confronting Joshua onto the cabin, exploring the cabin, along with some handouts here. The outside of the cabin, and into the cellar. Yes, so we're going down a very familiar road when it comes to Call of Cthulhu adventures. Mysterious stranger, lonely cabin that eventually leads down into the cellar, where you will essentially meet your demise, or hopefully put it to the Cthulhu mythos and live to see another day. Oh wow, this is an interesting piece. I like this, but the eyes here give off almost a mechanical look to them. So I'm curious what exactly this parasite is. Can definitely see more when I read it in detail, but this is a wonderful indication. This would be something that when the moment comes that you would just love to either hand out this picture or hold it up to your players to give them a better immersion into what it is that they're confronting. Conclusion, along with the rewards, and of course, the character and monsters with additional artwork, which thank you. A lot of the Call of Cthulhu adventures, there's no shortage on stats for the NPCs and monsters that are in here, but it is nice having an additional piece of artwork singled out for the stat block if you want to utilize that or print those out too. And we have our pre-gens here, along with choice of gender, which is nice. Either or whatever you would like to play as, doesn't really matter, but they do have alternative pictures if that's your jam. And then on to bits and pieces. So that's a short little adventure That one runs about, what do we have here? Let's see here. So it starts on 13, ends on 35, so about 22 pages long. And the next one we have here, are they in order? Is this Bits and Pieces is the one written by C.L. Werner. Okay. So, again, tropes are tropes, and, tropes exist and persist for a reason. But a doctor in turmoil in a cold morgue in some old hospital, dealing with some sort of horror as blood pools all over. Another wonderful Call of Cthulhu trope, and one that I don't tire of. But this again, another great piece. So we're not quite halfway through it, but the artwork alone would be enough to grab me and want to take this home. So Bits and Pieces. Bits and Pieces is a scenario for up to 4 players set in a morgue over the course of a single night in 1927. It is scalable runtime of around 2 hours, although nominally set in Arkham, Massachusetts. The keeper can easily adjust the scenario location and era of play. So we have 2 set around Arkham, which, if you have the Arkham book, you've got some extra scenarios here to squeeze into your sandbox setting as you're starting to flesh out the city of Arkham. Let's see. The investigators visit a morgue, answering an urgent call for help from disgraced Dr. Lawrence Warwick. Upon arriving, they find Warwick grievously wounded next to an empty autopsy table. The dismembered corpse that should have been on the table has vanished. All right. If you plan to run Bits and Pieces as a 1-hour scenario, consider using the suggested timing. So each one seems to be about 2 hours long, but then they give you some beats if you want to shrink it down a bit. So again, something that would work well into a convention game. But 1 hour is a bit short. Most con games are 2, maybe 3 to 4 hours. So shrinking it down. But if you're short on time, or you just want to or squeeze it in or squeeze it down for whatever reason, and they've got you. They've got you, boo. All right. So again, pretty much identical format about the pre-gens you'll be playing. Keep information in the background. Another wonderful detailed map of the inside of an apartment. It begins with a distress call. This one has some additional handouts information. Continue on with artwork detailing the scenario, which again is great. And then carrying on to, there's a ticking clock. I don't know if the other one did or not, but okay. And then, yes, potentially of what you might be facing within there. And, wow. I don't know if that's something that she threw down the table or something that she found, but he looks like he's been placed on hold for quite some time. Okay. And then carrying on to the additional details, down into the furnace. So we're heading downward again. And detailed map of the morgue. With the conclusion, characters and monsters. And, okay. So, interesting. Bits and Pieces. I'm smart, SMRT. I see what they're going for. All right, this one has piqued my interest. I'm really interested in what this is all about. Fantastic. And then along with our pre-gens. All right. And then finally, Bridget Jeffries' Aurora Blue. So another wonderful piece here. We've got, looks like a couple running out with a little girl who is memorized as he's shooting back at something running out of a cabin and into the snow. Things are scarier when you're running through the snow. Okay, Aurora Blue is set up for up to 4 players set in rural Alaska during the winter of 1932. It has a scalable runtime of between 1 to 2 hours. The investigators are a group of Bureau of Probation agents, commonly known as revenuers. Okay, interesting. Who encountered a color out of space during a bootlegging raid on a farm in the Shugog, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, mountains. They must destroy a collection of illegal material, defeat bootlegger Jacob Beaker, and hopefully escape to safety. Optional keyed scenes called memories tie the pre-made investigators to the action of the scenario. So there you go. So the pre-made adventurers, I don't know if optional keyed scenes. So yeah, so if you use the optional key scenes, with these pre-gens, you'll get a little bit more out of it, which is always nice. It's nice to know that the pre-gens are just not randomly rolled characters, but they're created and they play a part within these shorter scenarios. All right. Again, we've got a structure for running it within an hour. And then we've got about the investigators. Continue on. Oh, we've got, I may have passed over it, but mature content warning. Aurora Blue contains mature themes above and beyond those usually featured in Call of Cthulhu. Specifically, the scenario depicts culturally sensitive material, including racism and racial conflict. The 4 pre-generated investigators for the scenario are Bureau probation agents from marginalized backgrounds. Underpaid, underappreciated, and often overlooked despite their talents, they are desperate to close this case before new agents sweep in from the continental U.S. and claim the laurels of investigations on their own. Okay, so you're gonna if you're gonna play these pre-gens, you're gonna be tackling other things, other than the horrific aspects of the mythos. There's a potential that your pre-gens will be dealing with the horrible aspects of racism. Which on its own, is difficult on its own to try to work through for that period. So interesting. Let's see. Aurora Blue mimics the immeasurable obstacles often faced by marginalized people. Investigators must deal with racist NPCs, come face to face with culturally prejudiced imagery, and may suffer painful flashbacks drawn from their backstories that depict the bigotry they experienced. Okay, I'm sold on this. This is an interesting premise, and something that would be an experience to play through and see how it plays out through both aspects of this particular these 2 particular types of horrors, of having to work between both of them. Their careers, reputations, and potentially the progression of any marginalized person who aspires to follow in the footsteps rests on their success. Okay, no pressure. Along stylistic references to material like H.P. Lovecraft's Call of Space and its 1920 film adaptation, keepers may benefit from reviewing the section Racism, Reality, and the Game in Harlem Unbound. Yes, and even if you're not planning on running this, you should pick up Harlem Unbound and give it a read, not just for that, but for every other aspect that Chris Spivey has put into that book. All right. Let's see here. So, additional alternative investigators, keep information, and we carry on. All right. So, yes. So, with the eyes should have led to the aspect of Color Out of Space. And then we're starting the raid along with some handout information. Looks like their car has run down in the snow. So, you're going to be, I would imagine you'll be dealing with 3 things: racism, the Cthulhu mythos, and the elements, I would imagine. We've got a wonderful map of the Beaker Farm, a very disturbing and wonderful piece of some animals that look like they fell right out of Fallout, not just Call of Cthulhu. And then carrying on. Okay, so here's the insets, the memories that they're talking about. So... And then we've got the Aurora Borealis, or is it? And then we carry on to the inside of the Beaker cabin with another basement. Yay! Another memory flashback, dealing with the sanity effects. Another handout. Ooh, okay. Well, that handout says a lot. And then destroying the still, dealing with Jacob, a quick getaway, and then also dealing with the color, escaping, and the conclusion. Wow. So that one, oh, there's a ribbon. Huzzah. Wonderful. We'll just set that there. Characters and monsters, along with the Color Out of Space. And then we have our particular agent. So yeah, considering that there's personal aspects of the scenario. Obviously there's just 2 here, or individual ones, I should say, depending on who you play. And, the flashbacks and dealing with this the particular aspects of how the scenario is written. So very interesting, and definitely another one that has drawn my attention, and one that I would love to play or run. So yeah, so then we've got the collected player version maps along with the handouts here, full page. So if you have the PDF, these will print out wonderfully and easily because they're individual pages. They're not divided up between a couple times like they do. They'll put 2 handouts or 2 maps on a single page, and the biographies of the wonderful creators who have done this book with a nice basic index, and as stated, a wonderful little ribbon there. So, No Time to Scream. So yeah. Well, I should do this. There we go. Professionalism. I'm trying to garner it, even though this is as unprofessional as you get. So No Time to Scream. This is a first impression, not a review. I haven't read through this. I obviously haven't played any of these games, but each one of them individually has drawn my attention that I would have no problem, with what has been presented, with picking this game up, trying each one of these scenarios out individually, see how they play out, and also just my personal opinion, these do seem like great scenarios to run at a con, great scenarios to run for beginning keepers. But of course, the sensitivity issue of the third scenario is something that you would want to consider, the people who are playing, as long as they're comfortable dealing with those aspects, as the warning stated, before you sit down at the table with that one. But that aside, that holds true for just about any horror game, right? You want to make sure that the people understand the content before you dive them into it, and doubly true when you're dealing with the aspects of real world, situations such as dealing with racism. So that aside, it seems like to me, I'm glad I bought this. This seems like a fantastic book. This would be something that I would definitely use as maybe, not just for a con game, not just for an introduction, but these type of scenarios are great palate cleansers. If you've been kind of biting at the bridle to run Call of Cthulhu, and your players are playing something else, you're like, hey man, let's have a palate cleanser this week. Maybe 2 hours at the most, so I can scratch that Call of Cthulhu itch, and we can all have a little bit of fun and enjoy a well-written scenario for a night of horror. And also, these would be great things to run for Halloween. Shorter scenarios work great during any sort of holiday season, because in my opinion, most people want to move on to other things. Halloween night, kids want to go trick-or-treating, they want to go to a party, but if you want to run a game, and doesn't eat up a lot of your time, they've got you. They've got you in 2 hours, they've got you in 1 hour, and you can go on to the other things that you want to do. So yes, there you go. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, go check out No Time to Scream. And it seems like you would definitely be as happy as I am with this purchase. And once I get a chance to look at it, hopefully I will be even more happy once I get a chance to read these in its entirety, and also get a chance to play in these games or run these games. Either way, whatever works, probably run them. I'm pretty much a permanent GM as it is right now. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Scott, and this has been yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. Thank you all for watching. Please like, please subscribe. Please check out Titterpigs, the RPG podcast that I do with Keith from Rolling Boxcars. Please check out his blog, where he does actual reviews of games, not just interpretations. And hopefully there'll be more things coming soon. I've been begging my wife to do the last bit of the last tier list for the covers for the monster manuals of all of the Dungeons and Dragons books. Hopefully she'll throw me a bone soon, but I don't know. She's pretty busy. She's still dealing with back to school. And hopefully soon, I'm going to be doing another holy shit an actual review of a couple games coming up here. They're a lot of work, so you don't expect them too soon, but they will be coming before the holiday season is over. And there you are. Everyone, have a wonderful day.